Hey guys, welcome to Solo ReacTalk. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video requested. It's called Cadia from Warhammer 40k, made by the Templin Institute. I've been advised to watch this video after I watched the every single faction in the 40k Warhammer by Brecky. And yeah, let's start. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this investigation into the fortress world of Cadia. The first 500 people to use the link in the description will receive 2 free months of Skillshare's online classes. In the region of Imperial space designated Segmentum Obscurus, there lies an anomaly that has come to be known as the Eye of Terror. It is an enormous rift, a permanent storm in the fabric of reality that for 11,000 years has provided a gateway to the nightmarish realm of the warp. Inside is a dimension of madness and despair.
Okay, so there is another way to enter into the warp that doesn't necessarily involve you like creating a warp gate that gives you entrance into the warp. So the Eye of Terror is like a natural forming gateway to the warp. I think that's how I'm understanding it. Maybe I'm wrong. In the comment section you guys can correct me. If the Eye of Terror is naturally occurring, or was it also man-made, or I don't know, another Xeno civilization created the Eye of Terror as a mistake, or maybe intentionally, I don't know. But yeah, how I get it now is that, you know, there's different avenues in entering the warp. You don't only have to, you know, build a ship and then have like a jump drive that gets you into the warp. Okay.
Where skies weep blood, ancient stars burn in multicolored flares, and the whims of the dark gods hold sway. Since the time of the Horus Heresy, the forces of chaos that reside within have attempted to break out from the Eye of Terror and strike at the millions of worlds that lay beyond. Only one thing has stood in their path: a fortress world that guarded the only navigable route to the Eye of Terror. A place where time and time again, the servants of the dark gods would break against the greatest defenders of man. It was a planet known as Cadia, and it was here above all that the bloody work of the Imperium was done. A terrestrial world closely resembling Holy Terra before the age of the Imperium, Cadia was marked by great oceans, temperate plains, windswept moors, and towering mountains. Cadia was colder than most civilized worlds, yet not enough to impede the planet's settlement. It was famous across the galaxy for its sparkling glaciers and thick pine forests. It was the planet's network of strange black monoliths that remained Cadia's most enduring mystery, however, known across the galaxy as the Cadian Pylons. When precisely Cadia was first colonized has been lost to antiquity, but in the decades before the Horus Heresy, it had become inhabited by a primitive race of violet-eyed humans who worshipped the Chaos Gods. The Word-Bearers Legion and their Primarch, Lorgar Aurelian, was the first to re-establish contact with Cadia, but whatever transpired in these initial meetings might never be known. Lorgar ordered the cyclonic bombardment of the planet, wiping out the native Cadians and whatever secrets they possessed.
Okay, I didn't know about this, that the Primarchs have the authority to also initiate exterminatus. I thought that kind of privilege was only given to the Inquisition. I thought the Inquisition was the only group allowed, you know, to give the order for exterminatus on a particular planet that's either filled with Xenos or with heretics. Huh. But yeah, I thought the Inquisition were the only ones. So this is interesting.
With the end of the Horus Heresy, The Word-bearers and their other traitor legions fled to the Eye of Terror to heal their wounds and nurture their hatred. Black crusades mounted across the galaxy from the Eye of Terror convinced the Imperium that Cadia was of vital strategic importance, and settlers were sent to the world to claim it in the name of the Emperor. Cadia was eventually forged into a world worthy of the Imperium, but it was learned at great cost that the planet would forever be threatened, and its entire society would have to reflect that. Its earliest cities were constructed in the traditional style emulating Holy Terra, but the broad...
Okay, so Cadia became an accumulopolis, or is this just an image that they're showing us? Because this is amazing. It just looks like a city that you would find on an accumulopolis instead of a city with mountains. I mean, a planet with mountains and rivers and oceans and stuff like that. I mean, this place is overwhelming. It really looks overwhelming. Yeah.
Avenues and ordered urban grids favored any attacking force, and sweeping changes were enacted. Cadia could not afford any distinction between its fortresses and cities. Streets were constructed in such a way as to disorient any potential invader, arrayed in zigzag patterns that would force an enemy to fight for every block. Bastions and local garrisons were stationed in every corner and spire that possessed a commanding view, while at the heart of every city was an enormous fortification known in the local dialect as a casser. From the air, these resembled intricate puzzles, which could be held for months, if not years, even if the surrounding city had been taken. Its people were no different than its buildings, reorganized into a society wholly devoted to the defense of their world. Every Cadian was taught the skills necessary to become a soldier from the moment they could walk. Tactical doctrine was prioritized above basic literacy, and every citizen was required to serve at least a 4-year term in the planet's military before either becoming a career soldier or instead joining Cadia's military-industrial complex. Even the wealthy and successful elite wore clothing reminiscent of the camouflage patterns issued to the lowliest guardsmen.
Okay, so, wow, this society is crazy. That means whether you are a child all the way up to an elderly person, you are part of the military. Your job description, you're part of the military. Your life, you're part of the military. Your city is a part of the military. Everything is just military. Everything. I don't think I would enjoy living on a planet like that. This is crazy. This is just crazy. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
The famed Cadian shock troops were widely regarded as the best soldiers in the Imperial Guard, and some of the most well-equipped. Regiments either formed on Cadia or those emulating its style and doctrine could be found across the entire galaxy. Cadian equipment, in particular, was so ubiquitous that it was nearly the standard of the entire Astra Militarum. For millennia, the planet stood as an unshakable foundation that challenged the will of the dark gods themselves. Every invasion was shattered, and every Black Crusade was repelled. But in the 999th year of the 41st millennium, Cadia was finally broken. Abaddon the Despoiler, greatest champion of chaos since Horus himself, launched the 13th Black Crusade. In the opening moments, elements of the Planetary Guard turned traitor, assassinating Cadia's high command, its governor, and Lord Castellan. A reformed defense now under the command of Ursarkar E. Creed were able to contain this initial assault, but the Black Crusade was just beginning. In orbit of the planet, an enormous Chaos Armada traded blows with the warships of Battlefleet Cadia, all while reinforcements swept across Cadia's skies before joining in battle against the planet's beleaguered defenders. Mysteriously, it was not the famous fortress cities of Cadia that appeared to be Abaddon's primary target, but rather the large network of pylons, particularly those within the Elysian Fields. What precisely happened there can only be guessed at, but some claim that for a brief moment, servants of the Imperium working with ancient Xenos managed to activate the Cadian pylons.
Okay. Or Imperium of Man working with Xenos? Since when? Since when? Okay.
The forces of chaos were seemingly cut off from the warp, and even the Eye of Terror was said to shrink. By the order of Abaddon, however, an enormous blackstone fortress struck Cadia with the force of an artificial meteor. The planet's continents were split apart, its ancient forests burned away. The few who managed to evacuate the dying world bore witness not only to the destruction of Cadia, but to the expansion of the Eye of Terror across the entire galaxy. With the fall of Cadia, the forces of chaos had won a victory that for millennia had been almost unimaginable. Tendrils of the warp have split the galaxy in two, and there is little doubt that the Imperium has entered the time of ending. But the ultimate triumph of Abaddon the Despoiler still eludes him. The fall of Cadia has awakened something in the Imperium more powerful than even its greatest fortress. A hunger for retribution has swept across every world, and Cadia has become a martyr whose memory has spurred humanity to ever greater feats of valor. If a creature like Abaddon is still
Yes, Adeptus Sororitas. I love that faction. I love it. I love them so much.
capable of experiencing even a tinge of fear, then he must be haunted by the fact that in destroying Cadia, he has added 1 trillion fallen saints to the highest pantheon of the Imperium. For even as the planet split apart and its shattered remnants were consumed by the Eye of Terror, the red streaks of firing lasguns could still be seen in the darkness. Defenders of Cadia refusing to give in, even as their world cracked and burned around them. From their sacrifice has arisen a new battle cry, one shouted in hatred from the Arctic steppes of Valhalla to the deadly jungles of Catachan. A simple phrase that ensures the memory of Cadia will remain for as long as humanity endures. The planet broke before the guard. Thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring this investigation. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of high-quality classes by experts working in their fields. If you've ever considered venturing into the grim darkness of the 41st millennium or elsewhere, Skillshare has many classes on designing gameplay for tabletop, role-playing, and video games, as well as guides on how to improve storytelling and character design. For less than $10 a month, Skillshare can help you build on your current skills or learn completely new ones, unlock new opportunities, and do your best work. The first 500 Templin personnel who sign up for Skillshare using the link in the description will receive 2 free months of unlimited classes that can help you in everything from painting and gameplay design to creative writing, social media, and even learning new languages. The galaxy can be a dangerous place, and as every Templin field agent knows, knowledge is power. So use Skillshare to help give yourself an edge.
Well, that was Cadia in the Warhammer 40k universe. I don't think Cadia is gone. I think Cadia just multiplied into many more Cadias across the galaxy. The traditions, the history, the people of Cadia continue to exist in the minds of everybody within the Imperium of Man. So I don't think they're dead. They just multiplied. They just became a phoenix that spread its wings across the entire galaxy. So unfortunately, yes, the planet is gone, but the people, their traditions, their military doctrine, and their belief in themselves and in their ability to wage war and to become victorious has spread across the galaxy. And yeah, Cadia will live on forever. For as long as the Imperium of Man exists, their memory will continue to exist as well. I'm just thinking about all the enemies the Imperium of Man has to be fighting against. I mean, I just watched a video on the Tyranids. If you want to check that out, I'll put the card at the top there as well. And, you know, I don't know. Like, there's just so many enemies, and they're all so very powerful. How do you keep track on which enemy to fight? You know, the Tyranids are invading from whatever direction across the galaxy, and now you have the Eye of Terror, which is a gateway into the warp, where warp chaos gods with their chaos marines like Abaddon, the Despoiler, comes in, and he also invades the galaxy and makes a havoc, a mess, you know, and then he leaves, going back into the Eye of Terror. So I don't know, like, there's so many enemies that the Imperium of Man has to be focusing on. I'm just wondering, are they going to ever buckle under the pressure? Because really, the pressure is coming from all sides, and they're just compounding every day on the Imperium of Man. How it's able to survive through all of this, I just don't understand. I just don't understand. It's crazy. I mean, any civilization that would go through something like this on a yearly basis, you know, war, destruction, death, counting in the billions and into the trillions of lives. I mean, any society would just collapse under its own weight, you know, under the magnitude of the continuous war that it has to be waging. And yeah, it's just crazy. Cadia might have been lost, but like I've said before, Cadians will continue to exist, and they can just, those who survived the destruction of Cadia can make another Cadia somewhere. I don't know, somewhere close to the Eye of Terror. I'm sure there must be another planet that's close to the Eye of Terror that they could use as an anchor point, where they could also. Oh no! Wait. The reason why the Eye of Terror was being contained was because there was black monoliths on the planet. I'm not sure what those monoliths were, but it is ancient technology that's not associated with humans. So yeah, I guess all they have to do is to find another planet with these monoliths on them and make it a new Cadia, I guess. Oh yes, and the planet has to be close to the Eye of Terror. Oh, yeah. Okay, it's going to be difficult. Well, guys, yeah, that's it for today. If you liked the video, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell if you want to be up to date with my latest videos. And I will see you next time with another video from Warhammer 40k. Okay? Bye-bye.